And Julia just walked in.
Okay, it's okay.
Sorry, I'm late. No taxis, you know.
That's okay. Thanks for joining the group. Anybody that wants to get on webcam, feel free to chat with Ejirba. Hi, she'll show you how to get on there, okay? We're going to get started because people are still coming in. And welcome to Learn It Live. This is Raine. We are live. And we're going to talk about determining your psychic gifts today. It's going to be quite interesting because guess what? We're going to get a quiz at the end. But it's just a quiz to determine what are your psychic gifts. And if you feel comfortable with this at the end, I'm going to verify what your psychic gifts are, okay? If you feel a little bit unsure about it. But when we get done with this, I think everybody's going to know what their psychic gifts are, okay? This is the display up here. So we'll be reading from this. And don't worry because it's going to be on my page in a document file where you can come back and you can look at how to determine your psychic gifts. And there's also going to be a recording so you can come back and listen to that. So you're not going to miss too much today, but I am going to suggest that let's mute. For now, I'm not going to mute anyone, but I'm going to mute you guys in a little bit. But for now, just sit back, relax, and enjoy. Oh, you guys might want to get a pen or a paper, okay, or something good. Because when you get the quiz to determine your psychic gifts, I don't want you to try to write the question. I just want you to write yes or no next to it, okay? Okay. All right, here we go. So there are four major clairs, and we call them clairs because you'll see why, because it's either your clairvoyant, clairsentient, clairaudient, or claircognizance. So what we're going to do, I'm going to start muting you guys, okay? Let me mute chat. Eva. Okay, so everybody's muted but me right now. So if you have a question, go to the chat box, okay? So the four, these are the four major intuitive abilities that we're going to go over. And everyone has heard of being clairvoyant, okay? Clairvoyant is clairseeing. That's what clair means, clear. Clairvoyant is like an inner seeing. It is the most well-known one. Everybody understands what clairvoyant is, okay? The thing about clairvoyant is very subtle. For example, people are really expecting dramatic, amazing things like they're actually watching a movie, but clairvoyance comes in many different forms. For instance, sometimes you see a symbol in your mind, like if you're getting ready to do a reading or you see a particular color and you have to learn, each person has their own specific symbols that are special to them, and then they also have universal symbols that are special to them. And clairvoyance is also being able to see, like many people can see energy, like they can see spirits, they can see ghosts, they have prophetic dreams in their sleep. So clairvoyance is a little bit different than what you normally think it is, okay? For instance, some people are clairvoyant and they may just get a symbol or a situation. They'll see themselves doing a situation and it involves another person. And this is just going back to make sure that you're able to understand or depict what the symbology is trying to tell you. Do anyone have any questions regarding clairvoyance? Just unmute yourself. Okay, great. We're going to go to the second gift, which is clairsentient. And clairsentient is clear feelings. This is almost what everyone is. 70% of the population is usually clairsentient. Clairsentient means that you feel things, you have emotions, and when you're standing next to someone or you get like a vibe about people, it's all about the senses, where you go on this like heightened alert and you just don't know why, but you feel more than you see. And clairsentient comes in a special way too, because under clairsentient, you have people who are empaths. And to be empathetic means that you feel things on a very deep level. These are usually your healers, the people who are empaths. And the thing about an empath that you have to remember is that you have to learn how to be balanced, because you'll start to feel another person's pain if you're not balanced with it. And that's why so many empaths are healers, because they can instant go to like wherever your pain is. Like if you go to a massage therapist, have you noticed that when you go to certain massage, I've been to massage salons where people didn't even speak English, but they were so empathetic that they could go right to the spot that was hurting. I didn't have to tell them anything. That's how an empath feels. They feel everything that you're doing, okay? And they just have to learn how to balance it. The only thing I would say about an empath is that you cannot take on another person's pain, and that you want to be balanced in everything that you do, because if you're an empath, if you feel sorry for someone, it's going to be quite difficult for you to be a healer, because you can't cry and help them all at the same time. Did anyone have any questions about what it is to be clairsentient? Unmute yourself. And also, we're looking at the chat because one person doesn't have a mic. Okay, no questions on that?
No, she's on now. That was Jasmine. She's in now.
Okay. Okay, we're going to go to Clairaudience next, and that's clear hearing. And this is something that you're going to see quite often with mediumship. Mediumship is another form of psychic ability, but it comes under the clairs. And clairaudience is like the third major psychic gift. And what that means is that you have clear hearing and you hear with your inner ear. And sometimes it actually sounds like a real sound. And then sometimes it actually comes through your mind, okay, where you can actually hear the thoughts of others, or you're hearing your spirit guide actually talk to you. I get most of my information through Clairaudience because it's much faster, like if you're working on a network or something of that sort. When you're dealing with clairvoyance, like we talked about in the beginning, that's a little bit more complicated because most of the times things are coming in symbols, okay? Clairsentient was the second one that we talked about, which is the majority of the population. Where you actually sense or feel things. You don't know how you know it, but you know it because of the way that you feel, okay? And clairaudient, we have quite a few people who are clairaudient too, and sometimes it just feels like thoughts that are going through your head. It's not that dramatic, and then sometimes it is that dramatic where you go home the same way every day, okay? And then this day something says turn left, and you turn left or you turn right. You make the choice. That's how dramatic clairaudience could be, but it's still kind of subtle. Most people are expecting something very, very dramatic, and it's like you have to train your ear to listen to your, you have like your spiritual voice, which is like, which comes from your higher self. And then you have your emotional body and you have your mental body. And so it's always talking to you, and you have to just become familiar with that versus the mind chatter. Mind chatter is usually senseless. When you hear clairaudience, it's clear. It's very precise information, but it's very subtle. And here's the thing about it. You usually only going to hear it one time. So you have to really kind of start tuning into your thoughts. You're going to get this message, you're going to get it one time and one time only. It's rare that you're going to get it a second or third time. Did anyone have any questions? Please feel free to unmute yourself if you do. Okay, Eva, let me unmute you. You're unmuted.
Okay, can you hear me now?
Yes.
Oh, okay. The question is, when you talk about symbols that you would see in clairvoyant, what kinds of symbols are you talking about?
Oh, okay. There are two types of symbols. There are universal symbols, and then there are symbols that are specific to that particular individual, okay? Sometimes you'll see things in colors, like you'll see a blue, okay? And a blue may indicate for you calmness, okay? Or you may see things that are universal, like you might see an apple, okay? An apple is trying to indicate something to you about you have it. You have the gift right in front of you. Clairvoyance is kind of complicated because you have to learn the symbology. And sometimes you actually see a person, like for instance, a guide, a master, or light. Some people are just trained in seeing energy first. Like for instance, the aura. Okay, if you get in a darkened room with no lights on and you start to meditate, your brain instantly go into the alpha state. When you get quiet, you just listen to your breath. And you can take something that has life force in it, like an apple, or you can just take your hand and put your hand in front of your face. And what you simply do is you take your eyes out of focus, okay? And as you take your eyes out of focus, you should see something that's white and steamy, and that's the aura, okay? Most people are thinking that an aura is going to be all these brilliant, beautiful colors. It is, but that's very advanced. The first thing that you see is steam. It looks very steamy, and it's like a smoke that comes up. If you put your hand in front of your face and you just take your eyes slightly out of focus, and you have to do it in a room without lights, okay? And start out with, Julia, what a good exercise for you would be a crystal, okay? Put the crystal in the palm of your hand and just stare at it. Take your eyes out of focus. Do that tonight, and I think you'll see it, okay?
Okay, thank you. Okay.
You're welcome. Are there any other questions?
I have a question.
Okay, put your mic is, yeah, go ahead, please.
Can you hear me?
Who's talking?
Jasmine.
Oh, okay. Go ahead, Jasmine. You're kind of low. You might want to cut your volume up.
Can you hear me now?
Yes, loud and clear.
Okay. So I tend to get information over and over. You said one time, but say I need to call you, which is office, I might see the word that says rain, or it might rain outside, or some child might come up to me and say, is it going to rain? Like, I'll get message over and over, and I don't know what it is.
Okay, that's not exactly clairaudience. You know what that is? We're going to get to that. But since we're talking about it now, I'm going to tell you about it. You're a telepath, okay? You're a telepath. And a telepath is someone that receives messages from various, you can get it from a plant, you can get it from an animal. Like an animal could tell you, like, I'm hurting, I'm not feeling very well. And that's how telepathy works. It's sometimes you're thinking about somebody really, really hard, okay? And all of a sudden they call. You're picking up on that thought of the other person. So a telepath picks up on thoughts, okay? So that's telepathy. Does that make sense, Jasmine? Let me unmute you. Which, I think this one is you, because you're coming under EG.
Yeah, that makes sense.
All right, thank you. Did anyone else have a question? Okay, we're
I was
gonna.
going to say that I've
Mhm.
always been telepathic with my son from the earliest times on. I would think a thought and he would walk out of his room and say it, especially if I didn't want it. Like I want him to say, oh, I hope he doesn't remember that we're supposed to go to the store today. He'll walk right out of his room in a minute and say, Mom, are we going to go to the store right now? So I've always had that with him. He's still that way. I have to watch what I think. Anyway, I just wanted to add that.
You know, it's interesting that you said that, Ejiraba, because that's like a sixth sense with mothers, I noticed, and also with twins or multiple births, okay? They automatically pick up on the thoughts. That is quite common, but you just don't hear about it that often. Most people don't realize that they're a telepath, okay? But yes, you're very, most people are. Most people are. They just don't know the name for it, okay? Any other questions? Unmute yourself. Okay, we're going to go to another one, which is quite, this one is a little bit different than the norm, and it's called Claircognizance, which is clear knowing. Now, this one is a little bit tricky because this is like you know information and you don't even know how you know this information. Like certain things just will come out your mouth and you wonder why you said something, and then you'll see something come to pass from what you just said. Like, you know how sometimes your mother or something is saying, you better watch out because something's going to happen to you today. That's what this is, okay? It's like a extra sensory perception, but it's like intuitiveness that just comes in out of nowhere. And you just know things and you don't know why you know things, okay? So that's what this one is about. It's quite a beautiful gift here. Did anyone have questions about that one? If you do, unmute yourself. Okay.
So is there a way that you can identify the claircognizance? Because I know, most of the time, I know that feeling because I've had it before, but it's not a regular thing. It's just that I've noticed something and I don't know why I knew it, but I just knew it and I felt it like entirely in my body. And so I'm wondering if there a way to distinguish between claircognizance and clairsentience, because usually that comes in through the body too.
Where the clairsentience is a feeling and the claircognizance is like a knowing. And at the end, we're going to take like a little psychic quiz, and then you'll see the difference between the two. But that's basically the difference, okay? Both of those are going to come up under the quiz, and you'll get a little bit better about it. And before this is all over with, we're going to all know what our gifts are before we leave out, okay? Any other questions? Unmute yourself. And I don't see any questions in the chat box. Okay. Oh, okay. Okay.
Has a question.
You're unmuted.
Oh, what happened?
Oh, we went away. Do you see us?
We can hear you, but we can't see you, but that's okay.
Here's my question. Are you saying unleash or unmute?
Unmute.
Oh, okay.
Like if you have a question, just unmute yourself.
Okay, thank you.
Okay.
I think they're clair-visible.
Claire invisible. That's
Yes.
right.
I hit on the X. I thought maybe that was what. How can I get us back on?
I think you can
Just
try.
click on your webcam again.
On the webcam. Oh, okay. Oh,
And it'll take a minute, and you have to share it.
medium quality. Start sharing. Okay.
There you go.
Okay. Yeah, I hit the X. Okay.
All right, you're good. Okay, we're going to move right on to something that's very, very unique. Let me go to the next page so you guys can see. I think you can see it down there, and it's Clairalience, which is clear smelling. Now, I know that's a funny name for you, okay? But a lot of mediums get this also. You know how sometimes you start smelling a flower, the favorite flower of your mother or someone like that? I get this sometimes too, like when I'm doing meditation, you may get this, like if a guy comes in and you're not paying attention or they just want you to know their particular fragrance. This is quite common to smell floral scents when you're in a meditative state, or when a spirit guide is entering, you're going to start to smell things like roses and things of that nature. And some of you guys probably, I'm getting some of you have already experienced that. Would anybody like to share that? Any questions?
I can tell you an experience I had.
Mm-hmm.
My friend Maria came from Mexico to Atlanta to visit me with her daughter. This is after her husband died. And we visited another woman that lived in Atlanta who had lived with them for a while to learn Spanish. So she knew the husband. I knew Guillermo for many years. So we're sitting in the living room of this woman, and there were no flowers in the house. All of a sudden, this lovely fragrance came wafting through the living room, and we all smelled it. And Maria said she thought it was Guillermo coming to greet us and to say hello to all of us. Isn't that sweet?
Yes. Is that a spirit guide that you're referring to?
Well, Guillermo was the husband of Maria, but Maria herself was kind of a bruja. She was a healer and a person like that. So, you know, if she brought her spirit guide and that spirit guide brought this message, she said, from her husband, who was long dead by then.
Quite common. Yes, it's quite common. Did anyone else have a question? Okay, the last one I wanted to talk to you about under the clairs is Clairaudience, which is clear tasting. Let me make sure, get it on there for you. The thing about this particular one, this is another one that people get sometimes, but mostly this one is under mediumship, okay? Like if your loved one loved chocolate, then the medium will start saying, okay, if he's in an audience or something like that, I'm tasting chocolate. You know, this person used to eat chocolate all the time. And so that comes in. This one doesn't happen that often, but sometimes it happens in the regular population too, where when you start to doing meditation or something like that, or sometimes you get this like, if this is your spiritual gift, when you're doing something and it's like a warning, like you might taste like this bitter taste in your mouth, just to let you know you're getting ready to go into a bitter experience. Be careful. So it's a reason why we have been given all these wonderful gifts. They're really like trying to help us by using our spiritual gifts. Has anyone ever experienced this particular gift? No?
Go ahead, Jirba. Jirba has something to share.
Okay, go ahead.
Yeah, my best friend Jasmine has this gift, I believe. Sometimes I'll be talking to her on the telephone and she'll go, I taste something sweet. Are you eating some more sugar babies or something like that? Or are you eating potato chips? I taste potato chips. And I'll be like, how do you know what I'm eating? And she's, I don't know. I just taste it in my mouth. And I'm like, okay, you're spooking me. Get away. Go away. So she can tell you about that because she's really, that has spooked me a few times.
Okay.
I can only do it with the Jirba, though. I mean, I don't taste anybody else, but sometimes she'll try to pretend she's not eating on the phone. Like she'll suck a potato chip, and then I taste salty, something, and then she'll suck some candy. But sometimes I don't know. They say it tastes sour or it tastes sweet, but I can taste it. I can taste it, but not with anybody else.
Okay. It'll happen with other people too. If you started doing this work like on a regular basis, it's just a natural gift that's just going to come forth. Most things come forth the first time with people we know and the people that we're close with, but you can't have a gift that's just exclusive. It's got to be universal. So you have it, okay? Is there anybody else that would like to share?
I don't want to taste everybody's everything.
Okay. All right. We talked about telepathy, so I'm not going to go over that one again, but I want to talk about psychometry, which is very unique too. And that's where you actually take an object and put it in your hand, and you're able to pick up on other people, whereabouts, what's going on with them. It's like you're actually stepping into their vibration. A lot of times, the police departments, when they employ psychics, this is what happens. It's almost like when you see those little hunter dogs or something like that. You take something of that person that is missing, and you just start to feel impressions and images, and that's how psychometry works. And we're going to be working with that a little bit next week, but it's going to be more on telepathy because we're going to be doing like crystal readings, flower readings, where that's more like telepathy, where you pick up information. But I think it'll be fun for us just to kind of get an object of someone else's, but I haven't figured out how we can do this online. I've been in classes where we just put everything in a box and we take something out of that box. We don't know who it belongs to, and then you're able to just like pick up on the emotions and the aspects of others, okay? And if you have a question, please unmute yourself. This is the end of this particular presentation. We're going to go into the quiz now, okay? If no one have any questions, so please unmute yourself if you have any questions. No questions? Okay. Just relax for a minute. I'm going to upload another file for you guys so that we can go into the quiz. We're going to do a little psychic quiz. Oh, and go get your paper and pens, so we can, because we got about 18 questions, okay? Oh, you guys are awesome, okay. Hi, Matawandi, thanks for joining us. Okay, that's not the one I want. One moment. Okay, here we go. It's going to tell you, if you answer yes, it's going to tell you what the gift is, okay? So basically, all you have to do is just put number 1 on your paper, okay? And we'll go back. We're going to go back over this, at the end, so that you can kind of see what's going on. Number 1, do you sometimes stand near a person and begin to feel anxious? Now, this is clairsentience, okay? Let's go to number 2. Do you see images, faces, or objects in your mind's eye and don't know what it means? And as you can see, this is clairvoyance. Number 3, do you get occasional goosebumps when you say something or hear something? This is clairaudience. This is what we talked about earlier. Number 4, have you seen movement out the corner of your eye to find that nothing is really there? This is clairvoyant. Number 5, do you feel that animals and their nature spirits connect with you? This is telepathy. Let's go to number 6. Have you ever had an encounter with a spirit source? And you can see here, this is clairsentience, clairvoyant, clairaudience, and claircognizance. So it's all 4. So just pick whichever one you are. Number 7, have you felt the presence of someone or something to find out that there really was nothing there? This is clairsentience. Number 8, do you ever know things without knowing why you know it? Claircognizance. Number 9, are you sensitive to the flow of energy around you? This is clairsentient and an empath. We talked about that earlier. Number 10, have you had visions that come true? This is clairvoyant. Number 11, have you been in a building or a room and felt uncomfortable? This is clairsentience.
Wait a minute.
Wait a minute.
Eva,
Eva
and Julia,
Yes.
Julia,
problem or
problem
question?
or question?
Are you guys okay? Okay.
We're unleashed.
Okay, 13. Do you sometimes say something and you don't understand why you said it?
I'm sorry, I missed number 12. Could you repeat 12?
Oh, okay. Let's go back. Have you ever put your hands on someone or something to help ease a pain? This is an empath. Okay, we're going to go back to 13. Do you sometimes say something and you just don't understand why you said it? Claircognizance. (14) If you look at a person, do you sometimes sense colors around them? Clairvoyant. Okay, number 15. Do you hear voices, see people, or smell something that isn't explainable? These are 3 gifts that are being employed: clairaudience, clairalience, and clairvoyant. (16) Do you make choices because it feels right? Clairsentience. (17) When you meet someone for the first time, do you ever get an unpleasant feeling? clairsentience. And our last question, do your hands tingle, feel warm, or itch, or feel like a current of energy is running through your entire body? This is an empath, which is under clairsentience. This is our last question, so I'm going to have you guys unmute yourself and see if you have questions, because what this is actually doing is, if you see that you have let's go with 2 to 3 for some of the gifts. This is indicating that this is a gift that's emerging. And if you have like 4 to 5 or more of the same gift, that's a very dominant gift. And some of you guys may have all of them. You may have a portion, so you may see that it's evenly distributed. So what we're going to do, for those who want to do this, we're going to go over it, and I'm going to verify what your gifts are, okay? So I'm going to give you guys a few moments to look at it. And if you're confident what you are, unmute yourself. But let's look at Chad first, because he doesn't have a mic here. So, okay.
If Chad wants to participate with this part, he could write in the chat pod.
Okay. Any questions, Chad? Okay. If someone has a question, please unmute yourself.
He says, I got A. I'm not sure what. He says, I'm fine. I got A. I don't know what that means, but Chad, can you identify which gift you have?
Oh, okay. Chad, this is how it works. Did you get how many clairaudience? Okay, for question A. Okay, that's a yes. Okay, let's go back. Okay. This is how it works. Did you know when you write down your answer, the A is relating to clairsentience. Did you notice, Chad, that you got a lot of clairsentience? Okay. This is what I'm going to do for you, Chad. I'm going to identify what your gifts are if you want to share this. So indicate in the chat box whether or not you want to do this.
Chad, would you like Raine to identify your gifts?
Okay, we'll come back to Chad a little bit later. If anybody want to know what their gifts are, please unmute yourself.
I think Chad is trying to say he's clairsentient.
Yeah, I want to see if he wants me to identify what his gifts are, though. Because that's something.
He's fallen off. He may come back.
Okay.
I think that I am clairsentient. In fact, I know that I'm clairsentient, an empath. And I think that I have a bit of clairvoyance as well. You can tell me if you read that.
Okay, hold on one second. I'm verifying you now. You're predominantly clairsentient, and you're an empath, bona fide empath. You're a telepath. You have the emerging gift of clairvoyance, okay? Thank you. Is there anyone else that want to know or have their gifts verified? You're welcome.
I would.
Okay.
So I got predominantly clairsentient with 3 claircognizant.
Okay. This is Matawandi, right?
Right.
So you got clairsentient, and what else did you get?
Claircognizant.
Uh-huh. Did you get anything else?
Claircognizant?
Yeah, uh-huh. You got 2 so far, right?
Right. I got 1 clairvoyant. Where did I get that? Oh, well, number 10, I couldn't make up my mind.
Okay.
Visions that come true, because it's not like I see something and then that particular thing that I see come true, but I can put things in my peripheral, like pictures or photos or something like that. And those visions that I'm seeing regularly can come true.
That's clairvoyant. I think you missed the first part of the session, and you're correct. On all of them, I'm looking at what your dominant one is, though. So give me a moment here, okay?
Yep.
You're clairsentient. That's your dominant one, and you're also an empath. Okay. An empath is underneath clairsentient. It means that you would be an excellent healer because you can feel other people's pain, you know, where people are hurting. You would be an excellent person for massage therapy, a psychic, because you can relate to people. And we talked about that earlier. You can probably review the tape, but you just got to kind of be careful about balancing your emotions as an empath. I'm also getting really heavily for you. You're a telepath. You have telepathy. You have the ability to communicate with nature, nature spirits, animals. You don't have a pet, do you?
I don't have a pet, but I rented a property, and on the property there were pets, and I did connect with them because I'm not a pet person, but they made me love them, and so I did.
Okay, that's because they communicate with you, and telepathy is also like you can pick up when someone is going to call you. You know, you're thinking about that person maybe like days before they call you. It's because you're tuning into their thoughts, and so this is happening with people, animals, in nature. Those are your dominant gifts, Matawandi, and then I see that you still have some emerging, the rest of them are emerging with the clairvoyance, okay? Meaning that they can be developed, okay? But those are your dominant ones.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Is there anyone else that wants me to help them determine what their major gifts are? If so, please unmute. Unmute. Okay, you're unmuted. That's Eva? Eva?
Yeah, Julia.
Julia?
No, okay, number five, what was that? I'm trying to write down what they are.
Oh,
Number
okay.
5, I got a yes. Okay. And 6, I got a yes. 5, 6, okay.
Okay, hold on a second. Um,
We only see page 1.
okay.
There we go.
Okay, 5, I got a yes, telepath. And 6, I got a yes. That's a bunch of things, all those guys. The encounter with the spirit source. You know, I think so. I'm saying yes, conditional. And then 7, I got a no. Down to 9. 9 was my next yes.
Can you go to page 3? Yeah.
9. Clair empath. Yeah, clairsentient. Okay. And then 11 was Clair.
Sentient. Mhm.
Okay, clairsentient. That looks like a lot of mine. Clairsentient. And then I had 12 yes, because I did some healing on a woman that sort of Reiki, kind of Reiki,
Mhm.
on a friend of mine at work. And it worked. That was nice. Okay, 13.
Oops.
Claircognizance. Yes, I said yes. And then 15, smell. I said yes. That's Clairalience. No, Clairalience, yeah.
It's all 40.
Uh-huh.
15.
And then yes on 16, clairsentient. And yes on 17. What was that?
Okay.
So I have 1 clairsentient also. Okay. Yeah, I have a lot of that. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. No, 6 clairsentience.
Yes, you are clairsentient. That's one of your dominant gifts.
Thank you.
3, 4.
Okay. Thank you very
And
much. This is very interesting.
okay. I'm gonna unmic you just for just one moment, and I'm gonna tell you what you are. Okay.
Okay.
Okay, for Julia, you are clairsentient. Okay. You have a emerging psychometry also. So you have the ability to hold an object in the palm of your hand and get impressions about it. Okay. So that's something you definitely want to study. You also, you do have the clear tasting, which is emerging, but I'm getting that you also have Clairgustance, which is clear tasting, okay? And let me unmute you. Did you get that?
I didn't write down clear tasting, no, but clear smell for the smell.
Mm-hmm. The clear tasting is emerging, okay?
Okay.
The more you work with the clairs, the more it'll come out, okay? It's like a muscle. You have to use your gifts in order for them to become dominant. But as human beings, we automatically start being sensitive from the time that we were born. So that's why so many people are clairsentient.
Okay.
If there's anybody else that wants me to verify what their spiritual gifts are or who wants to share what their spiritual gifts are, please unmute yourself now. Okay, we have someone else. Did you guys have a question? Eva?
Are you talking to me, Raine? No, Julia had to leave.
Oh, okay. All right. I do see Jackie. Jackie, did you you joined us a little bit late? You can watch the recording, and we had a documentation that's going to be on my page. What we're doing now is we're determining what everybody's gifts are. Some people are just sharing it. If you would like to know what your gifts are, let us know through the chat box. But if you're on a laptop computer, you can make your laptop, if you share the mic, you'll be able to speak. You're on listen only mode. So, e.g., look for her chat response to see if she wants to participate in this.
So Jackie, please write down in the chat if you want Raine to confirm your spiritual gifts, your psychic gifts rather.
Kathy, are you okay? We can't hear you, so you might want to write yours in the chat box because for some reason I can't hear you.
Hello?
Okay, I heard you, Kathy. Are you ready?
All of them right, or yeses, I should say. And I
Okay, Kathy, your mic is not working too well, so why don't you put your response in the chat box? And e.g., just let me know if she wants to do something with that. Is there anybody else that would like to have their gifts verified today?
Jackie would. And Chad, checking back with you to see if you want Raine to confirm your psychic gifts, Chad.
Okay. Let me help Jacqueline determine her gifts, okay? And Jackie is indicating that she thinks she have gifts and that she lost them. But I want, this is a really good question because no one really loses their gifts, okay? They may become dormant from not using them because they're like a muscle, or they may become blocked for whatever reason because they're atrophying. Like if you have a muscle, if you don't use it, you lose it. That kind of expression like that. But they really don't go anywhere. You can always develop them. So I'm going to look at you and see what your gifts are. Okay, so give me one moment. Okay, got it. Okay, Jacqueline, your gifts are your clairsentient. Okay, that's clear feelings. That means that you're very sensitive to energy and emotions and how you feel when you're around people. Okay, so that's clairsentient. You have an emerging empath in you that needs to be developed. But these are the gifts that you were born with. And also, I'm seeing that you're a telepath and don't know it, okay? A telepath is someone that can pick up on emotions and communicate, okay? It's like a extrasensory perception. So that is something that you want to look into. And this is really, really strong with you, this telepathy. So that's something that you definitely want to concentrate on. You just got to start practicing a little bit more, and they'll come out more. You know, again, it's like a muscle. You have to use it. And also, I'm getting psychometry with you is really big, okay? And that's when you hold an object in your hand, okay? And you can sense the whereabouts of other people. So I want you to kind of start doing that too, because I gave Eva, not Eva, that was Julia, an exercise to do. This is an exercise for everyone this evening that I'm getting that is really good for you guys. And the first one is get in a meditative state, okay? This tonight with no lights on, and take an object, put it in your hand, okay? And take your eyes out of focus and look for the aura. It'll look like a white steam coming out. You know, a crystal would be perfect to do this, okay? That's the first exercise I would tell you to do. And the second exercise is get something like a crystal or a flower and ask it for information and see what comes back. Because these are some of the things that we're going to focus on next week. We're going to actually do readings from each other, okay? And it's going to be in a non-judgmental attitude. And you can't be afraid to make mistakes, because that's how you learn, is through trial and error, okay? And so Jackie is saying in the chat box, you know, she's worried about what has happened in the past, but I'm looking at your gifts. You know, one is dominant already, okay? You just have to use it more, and that's the clairsentience. And the rest of them will emerge. But this is something that you have to do every day. And if you don't meditate, you're never going to develop your gifts, because in order to develop your gifts, you have to go into the silence and you have to go into an alpha state. You have to learn how to tune things out around you and listen to the still small voice. You have to pay attention to the symbols that are being shown to you. It's so many different subtle things. People think of gifts as being like very dramatic, but they're not. It's learning how to tap into the subtleness of it all till it becomes normal with you. So that's part of your psychic gifts. You know, most people are just thinking it's going to be like you see it on TV, but that's not the real reality of it. They're all very subtle, and they grow over time, and they you have to like learn how to trust your intuition. And because spirit is quick, it's just like that. You know, it tells you something, boom. You know, you'll be on it though. The more you do it, the more you'll learn and the more you grow. Did anyone else have any questions today? I'm not going to keep you guys very long. We went a little bit over the hour. I will stay for anyone who has extra questions or want to talk about it. So if you have a question, unmute yourself. Except for Jackie, Jackie and Chad, you don't have a mic, so you can't really speak in a conference. You just have on listen only. Is there anyone else here who have final comments or have a question that they need to ask?
Jasmine, what are you?
I think MH has a question. Who's this woman?
That's Matawandi.
I think
Matawandi, let me unmute you.
I don't have a question. Someone walked in the room, so I shoot them out.
Okay. All right.
Raine?
Yes?
What if you want less of your gifts?
I didn't get all of what you said. You said something about less of gifts.
What if you want to reduce them, turn them down.
Okay. You think they're too sensitive? You're just gifted. Jasmine, I've worked with you before. The one gift that I noticed that people sometimes, I could tone down like clairsentience or something like that for you. Some people, empaths and clairsentience usually are. Some people are just like off the charts, and sometimes you can tune that down for them so that they can deal with everyday life, because sometimes they can't stand for people to touch them. They're too super sensitive. Is that what you're referring to?
Yes. But also this thing about you don't know. I know. You know, I don't have a thing where I don't know, but I don't want to know it all the time.
Okay. You know, there are things that you can do besides the clairsentience and the empath that I was talking about. You could ask spirit, to tell you, you don't want to know every single solitary thing that goes on. I had to do this years ago so that when I enter a room, I just see a person. I don't want to know everything about a person, okay? I'm only open to what I need to know. And that way it gives me a balance, So I asked many years ago, and that's just how my gift works. And if someone is engaging in me and asking me a question, that's a different thing. Then I'm tuning into them and I'm picking up things and all of that. But for the most part, I work with my guys, and they know that when I walk through the streets, I don't want to know if someone has cancer. I don't want to know if someone's going to, get ran over by a car or something like that. You just talk to spirit, and when you go in your meditation, just tell them how you feel, and they'll make it appropriate for you. Okay, but not turning down your gifts completely. You just make sure you're very careful how you talk to spirit about this, okay? Because having your gifts on are pretty good, but you just don't want them up that high. Is that what you're saying?
Yes. Yes, that's what
Okay.
I'm saying.
That's all you have to do. Just talk to spirit, okay?
I just want to say I have an experience with that. Growing up in our family home, there were lots of people around me, because this is a whole. Hey, Jackie.
Hi, Jackie. Thanks for joining us.
I guess I come from a long line of whatever we may be, but people would always see spirits in our house, and I would talk to my uncle who raised me, who I call my dad, and he would say, you just have to say, I'm not ready to see you. If you're okay with spirits, you can feel them, you can talk to them, and you can say, if seeing you will throw you over the edge, you can say to them, I don't want to see you, and we can have this experience. I just can't look at you. And that's what I've done, because I would get feelings and see things out the corner of my eyes. And so as long as I don't see you directly, we can have this experience.
Love that, Matawandi. That's what normally the spirits do when you see out the corner of your eyes. Those are the shadow people. You're only seeing shadows. They only give you what you can handle. But the most interesting thing about being clairvoyant and having your gifts, when people have gone on to the other side, you're not going to see anything that frightening, because you're just going to see light, okay? Even if they're a fourth level being, okay, you're only going to see light. They no longer have the form anymore. They don't have the human form. So you don't have to be afraid. And pretty much what you get in your existence is what you think about, and if you're focusing on all the good, then only those type of spirits are coming to you. But if you have some fear, that's another thing, because you will draw a different type of thing to you. So if you want to cut it off or have it toned down, you can. But I wouldn't suggest that anybody cut off their gifts, and just say, I don't want it anymore. Because if you do say that, they will be cut off. But that's so true, Matawandi. Spirit will work with you. And most of them are just ancestral spirits that are around you. And that's their job, you know, is to be at your back and to protect you. But they cannot help you unless you ask for help, because this is a free will universe. So no one can impose or do anything to you without your permission. Okay?
I just have a question about, like, when you say someone has crossed over and you'll only see light, how do people see forms of the person who has crossed over?
After a person dies, they still can have that body for a certain period of time before they go to purgatory, okay? And so after a short period of time, and it's not that long, you can't see the actual form of that person anymore. What you'll see is in dreams, you'll see them the way that you used to see them, but they can actually come to you after they die, and they'll still come in their body form. Like, for instance, my mother came to me at least twice. I just told her I just needed to see her again. And she took me through a portal, and we went somewhere. And to this day, I have no recollection of it, because that was part of the agreement. And so what happened was I noticed that she started to become more and more distant, but I never saw her body again after that, because after that, they go to light, and then they go on to something like, it's sort of like a school where you have to relearn everything, how to go back in spirit and get rid of the body and go back to your spiritual group and learn with them a while. And then you make the decision whether or not you're coming back to the earth form, or are you going to stay in spirit form and help other inhabitants around the earth, or go to another dimension. And she chose to do something. She got a new assignment, which was quite rare. She got an assignment kind of early. So I don't see her that often, but I can always call on her. You know what I mean? You can always call on your ancestors, because here's the thing. Even though they're somewhere else, they can be at many places at the same time, and it's no bother to them.
Interesting.
And I suggest everyone that's in a conference today call on their ancestors. You want to call on your ancestors on a daily basis to support you in your endeavors, because they will help you and they will also protect you from all things, okay? And each and every one of you guys that are in a conference today were born with spiritual armies, you know, so you have angels, you have other kind of guides around you. So now that you know your gifts, this is something that you should practice every day in your meditation. And this is just the one thing I'm going to tell you to do. Just focus on one thing in your meditation. Just ask, who is your master teacher guide? And that's it. And just take a little pen and paper with you when you go into meditation and write it down. Okay? These are simple things. Our final class, I'm going to give you a little bit more information on how to develop your gifts, okay? And we also got a diet that it's a shaman's diet that I'm going to share with you that's going to help you to see better, okay, and to hear better, and to feel better, and to taste better. We're going to do all the clairs, okay? Does anyone else have questions?
No, but I was just going to remind you of the time in case people needed to leave.
Okay. And we're going to stop recording, and anybody that has a question, feel free to ask it.
I just wanted to thank you again for the class.
You're so welcome. Thank you, Jasmine. It's been my pleasure. So we are no longer recording. So anybody that feels like they want to drop out at this particular point, they can. Or if anybody want to talk now that did not talk or share in a conference, you're not being recorded. If you just want to say hello or whatever, just unmute yourself, okay? If anyone have a question, feel free.
Do all of you live in Ecuador?
Who said that?
Jasmine.
She
Not.
lives
If all of you live in Ecuador, I'm moving there.
Yeah, we got it
Some of
going
us,
on.
but Chad is not from Ecuador. Some more people have dropped off. Chad is not from Ecuador, and you're not from Ecuador, but the rest of us are.
Okay, I'm moving there.
Okay, we have a good time. All right. Well, since everybody's good,
Thank you,
we're gonna
Raine.
we're gonna sign off and let everybody do what they have to do today. Okay.
Okay. Thank you
Thank you
so
guys
much.
so much for joining me. It's been my pleasure. Okay.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye,
Hey,
everybody.
bye. I think Jackie had a question.
Oh.
Jackie's
Okay.
on listen mode. You have to put on her microphone.
She just tries to talk and nobody can hear her.
Well, she's on listen only, so she has to learn how to put that mic on. You have to share your mic.
Jackie, you have to click on
The
your
top right
microphone
corner,
and share.
Jackie. It's the top right corner. And it has a red dot in it. I think that's the mic.
Yay.
There she is.
Did it.
Yay.
Okay, so you don't know how to do it next time, okay?
Yes. Practice makes perfect, as you say. Anyway,
Your mic is kind of low for some reason.
Speak a little louder, Jackie.
thank you very much.
Okay, you're welcome.
I had problems getting back on my computer. There was some problem, and it was difficult, so I kept fighting.
Mhm.
Finally, I was able to.
You probably have to cut your volume up because we can't hardly hear you.
She said she had trouble getting on her computer, and now that she's
Oh,
on her computer, she has a question.
okay.
Hello.
Yes, your question?
Well, I'm just testing this mic. Are you hearing me better?
Yeah, a little bit better.
The volume up. Oh. I have to figure out this mic. I'm hearing very well, but something with the mic.
You know, before we go on next week, Jackie, go on the demo and just play around with it a little bit, okay?
Okay.
Yeah, play with the demo. You can even do it after we leave, okay?
All right. Demo worked perfectly. I don't know. Okay. Thank you again.
Well, I'm going to sign off, guys. I love you. Mwah. Take care.
Oh.
All right.
Bye, everybody. See you next week for our last class.
Oh, yeah, I forgot to say that. Jasmine, call me.
You are currently